Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zach GP channel, and I was going to start the video talking about, the potential of Final Fix, what you'd do with Lance Stroll, but I actually want to first talk about it because I have Chris Medland's and I've got the Alpine actual Twitter up for if we have any news coming up about Franco, because obviously I can't see the stream at the minute. Annoyingly, my second screen's not working, so I'm having to use the iPad as the second screen, which means I can't really see much of what's going on. However, it's nothing crazy, but let me show you what Alpine have been doing. Okay, so Alpine, a single car of Pierre Gasly. Alpine, Gasly. Alpine, just Gasly. It was quite scary. We're seeing a lot of just Pierre Gasly, and of course we're like, okay, where's Franco? Is his car okay? We still have no idea if his car is okay. But luckily, seeing just chatting at the driver parade at least is a good sign, because at least he's there, ready to go. And if we haven't heard anything yet, I'd be surprised if it meant we weren't getting Franco in the race. I mean, an hour before, we'll see exactly what happens. But anyway, that is all the news on the Franco Colapinto stuff. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that for the next 45 minutes until basically right up to the race starts. So get in all your questions about Final Fix, whatnot. Basically, the gist of it is, if I get over to this, the gist of it is Lance Stroll, he's going to get that minus 20. So, what's it called? You take him out of your team if you had him. But 11% had him in his team, in their teams. But I think it will be less, because most of those teams probably would have been like fake teams, not fake teams, but like casual teams. I'm trying to get the chat up on here as well, but it's not working at the minute. So hopefully I'll get that sorted in a second. Most people won't really have Carlos Sainz, which is not, to be fair, anything crazy, because if we came into this weekend, I mean, his odds were 96% to go down, 0.6 million. So hey, all this now means is Stroll for Canada, Austria, and Silverstone is basically off limits. But that doesn't matter too much. I would have been surprised if we were jumping back on the Stroll bandwagon for a while. Yeah, alright, cool, my bad. Let me get it in. Let me turn it up for you. Hopefully that's a little bit better for everyone. Good day, Zach. Best of luck on your race. Yeah, good luck to you as well. Hopefully it goes all good for you. Garrett says, my girlfriend didn't set a team in time with Lance Stroll. Oh, okay, yeah. If, in situations like this, what you want to do is basically Final Fix. Lance Stroll's got 9.7 million. You can change him to anyone. You can change him. I think the favourite around Twitter, and I think I agree with it, is that it would be swap Stroll to Carlos Sainz, because it's Carlos Sainz or Alonso. Whoever you think is going to get driver of the day. It's just I prefer, if I actually get the qualifying results up as well, with Carlos Sainz, you've got that potential. If Alonso doesn't get driver of the day, he's kind of stuck around P10. He'll probably only get around 5-ish points. Whereas, if you don't have Hadjar already, yeah, Hadjar would be a good option. But I don't know. With Hadjar starting so high up, let me get up the exact qualifying results, because Hadjar's P8, if I remember correctly. Whereas Hadjar's P9. So what worries me about Hadjar a little bit is P9's a bit of no man's land in F1 fantasy stuff, because if he finishes P9, P10, he'll only end up with like 4 or 5 points, and two of them would have been from qualifying. So I do think that someone like Carlos Sainz, who literally physically can't get worse unless he crashes out, and we don't get a lot of crashes at a race like Spain, might be better for the race points. And then you might notice that Hadjar and Sainz end on similar points, but you'll notice that Sainz was all in the race instead of the qualifying. So that's where my sort of head is at, where Hadjar is a great asset for anyone who brought him in like yesterday, because budget and points. But because Final Fix, we don't need to focus about the budget. You can pick whoever you really want. It would realistically be, I'd be very surprised if you could bring in Tsunoda, but Tsunoda 100%. Carlos Sainz, Esteban Ocon. It's just those drivers at the back that have nothing to lose, and no matter what happens, basically the only way is up. Let's go top 500. ATL, where are you at the minute exactly on the rankings? I'm interested to see. I hope Ferrari does well today compared to the Mercs. Well, here's the thing. Here's the beautiful thing about the whole Ferrari situation, and this is why I was quite surprised when I was one of the only. I think I was one of the only guys who was like quite secure in picking Ferrari, because Red Bull differential play. Red Bull actually look half decent now. If Verstappen finishes third, then Yuki has to get up to P10 though, and I don't know how much I trust him to do all of that. But if Yuki does overtake and position to gain points, Red Bull are looking fine. But Ferrari and Mercedes, from the looks of things, like, we'll get back on. I don't know why also I didn't just show qualifying results on the live scoring. I knew it was there. Qualifying wise, they're basically on par. So it's going to come down to who gets the fastest pit stop. And look, it's not dead set that Ferrari are ever going to get the fastest pit stop in a weekend, but they've been doing it every bloody weekend. So if we go down to Monaco, fastest pit stop of 2.19, 10 points. Whereas Ferrari, 67. Fastest pit stop, 10 points. Overall fastest pit stop, 5 points. I believe I missed out on Monaco as well. Yeah, 5 points. Then we go back to Miami. They didn't have a great weekend, but fastest pit stop, 5 points. Not the best, but still better than probably what Mercedes got. What did Mercedes get? Mercedes got nothing. Yeah. So the clear. Oh, hi Jelson, by the way. Happy to see you in the chat. Enjoy the race. Hopefully it's a good one. I really do. I don't want to hype up Lando versus Piastri too much, because I do think Piastri will run away with it if nothing happens into the first few corners. Looking at Piastri's pace this weekend, I genuinely also like. I try looking at the stats. Like, when you look at going into a race weekend, you kind of got to use 2024 as a placeholder, just to be like, okay, this driver did sort of well here last season. I genuinely like the confidence boost from Oscar Piastri. I know where it comes from. Obviously, four race wins this season, he's doing incredible. But I can't believe the turnaround at some of these tracks he's done, because if you don't remember correctly, last year Piastri wasn't terrible, but it was not a good track for him. In qualifying, he bottled it, starting P6, P7, P8 around there, and then the race wasn't much. The race wasn't great, and just for him to come into this race weekend and get, like, what? It was the highest, the biggest difference, or the second biggest difference from pole to second place at a race. For him to do that switch up, I genuinely don't know where that raw pace at a circuit comes from. Like, it surely is just getting better and better, like, constantly. His potential is absolutely insane. And that's what's brilliant about Oscar Piastri. I genuinely think I can't write him off for any race weekend now, because it doesn't matter 2024 results. Like, he's just so good this season, even if Lando did do well at a track. Like, I will say, I think Lando's big track is Austria, so we'll probably do Canada, and Austria will be back to Lando Norris. But Austria, Oscar's going to be right there, I think. It's absolutely incredible. You've not scammed us with must picks this week. Yeah, I know, Chelsea. I still remember the Pierre Gasly fiasco. But yeah, my must picks this week were Hadjar, Lawson, and... Well, actually, you say that. Touch wood. Touch wood, of course. But Gasly looked fine heading into Monaco that week, so we'll see. It's still up for debate. You never know. Hadjar crash could be coming. A Lawson one. Fernando Alonso could be coming. Or I've been quite adamant of Carlos Sainz not getting driver of the day. Sadly, I can't also get... I can't get any polls up at the minute, but I'd love to get everyone's opinions on this. There's a lot of talk about Alonso getting driver of the day or Carlos Sainz getting driver of the day, but especially Fernando Alonso. But I generally think if Lando Norris isn't liked enough, but if Oscar Piastri or Max Verstappen win the race, I think they're just going to get it just because people like them. I get why Fernando Alonso could split a lot of the votes, but don't be surprised if we get to a situation where Fernando Alonso's P9, P10, Oscar Piastri's won by like 20 seconds, and then driver of the day just goes to him. I would not be surprised at that at all. But, however, we know how driver of the day works. Also, don't be surprised if we get Franco Colapinto, who didn't even start getting driver of the day. If that happens. I'll refresh as well, just to make sure that we have the latest news. Look, they're putting more stuff out with Franco in. So, I can't see him not racing. There's still no news about it. What's Chris saying? No, still nothing on it. Still nothing on Franco. So I'd be very surprised if Franco was not racing now. Very, very surprised. Right, sorry, I got a bit distracted on the chat. Been away this weekend, but when Piastri to Max, how has Max looked? He's not looked bad. It's just McLaren look in another world now, which is quite funny because after all this mess trying to get the flexi-wing situation sorted, it's benefited McLaren, which we knew could happen. But my God, that is just absolutely is ridiculous. Of course, I won't say it actually has realistically, because we've got tracks like Miami. Maybe this is one of those tracks where just McLaren is just super fast at, and we could come back to Canada where it's a lot closer again and we get a more balanced approach. But yeah, Piastri, it's the biggest gap we've seen for a while. Just his teammate and then to Verstappen, it's 3/10, which doesn't seem like a lot, but as we know in F1, it's crazy. Piastri's price is totally fucked, way too cheap. Yeah, I know. I don't know what their thinking was, because like I get Piastri being cheaper than Norris coming into this season, right? Norris was the one who was facing Verstappen last season. But first of all, Norris's price was ridiculous. I think both Norris and Verstappen were priced way too high up. They should have been both around 28 million-ish. I do believe Norris should have been the priciest option, because we knew coming into the season that McLaren were more likely going to be the better assets. However, Piastri should have been around 25 million. What did he start on? It was like 22, 23. Ridiculous. He was George Russell's price. He was cheaper than both Ferraris, if I can remember correctly. And it's just crazy. Right. Is it worth final fixing Colapinto to a Lawson? To Alonso or Sainz, given P18? I would say no. I genuinely, the only option would, if final fix was an option with that sort of thing, was if Franco's wasn't racing. And from the looks of things, I still can't see anywhere saying Franco won't be racing. They've been using his face, get out my way adverts. As you can see, he's on the starting grid. I'd be very surprised now if he wasn't racing. And then at that point, Franco's one of the better assets, because P19, he'll probably get overtaken by Yuki, but then only wears up, like Carlos Sainz situation. Yeah, okay, perfect. I'm going to vote him because I own him. Yeah, Nixie, well, that's the thing. Driver of the day is going to come down to that, because I'm going to vote Piastri no matter what happens, because I've got him as driver of the day. Or you never know, who could I vote for? Or let's get Lance Stroll driver of the day. I wonder if that will even be an option. If there is an option to vote Lance Stroll as driver of the day, I might just have to. I'll look at the graph first. If it's a clear-cut winner for Piastri or an Alonso, and I'm like, my vote's not going to make a difference, I will vote Lance Stroll for everyone. Because, as we know, he's the GOAT. He actually, their whole story of he couldn't race because of his hand? Nah, it's rubbish. He's just not racing because it'd be unfair on everyone. Zach, I'll be at the Canada GP in 2 weeks. Oh, bro, I am jelly. Enjoy it, mate. Canada's one of the best circuits, man. I just, for your sake, I hope it's not raining, because we can get rain there quite a bit. But otherwise than that, it should be a brilliant race. I mean, last season it was great, but that was a bit because of the rain. But even a dry race at Canada is normally pretty good. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy that. Alpine's, oh yeah, that's all good then. Yeah, 100%. I'd be surprised now. What happened with Colapinto? Matthias, he had, let me get up the tweet. He had like a drive line, I don't know what it is. He had some sort of issue with the car. He stopped in Quali, and there was a whole thing of, oh, will they get the car done in time? From the sounds of thing, it was a big job. It should be somewhere here. Chris would have said something about it. Colapinto's, no. Well, yeah, it was somewhere. Right. Forgot the deadline. Had Piastri, Gasly, Colapinto, Hadjar, Bortoletto, McLaren, Ferrari need to final fix. Well, the thing is, I'll show you the budget building. The issue is Gasly actually looks half decent, so I'd say just stick with him now. The issue is you're going to get that minus 0.6 from him, but it's going to happen, so I'd just stick with him now. Piastri looks the best of the 80 drivers as well, so you're fine there. Colapinto, Bortoletto, completely fine. Hadjar, he looks like the top dog this weekend, so I would say, Hassan, you're good to go. So don't worry too much about it. And also, for anyone who wants to know how my team's doing at the minute, obviously, the green team, I'm quite sad that I couldn't. I should have 2 times Lance Stroll. I thought about 2 timesing him, but it's a shame. But in like actual teams that I'm using, I've got 71 points so far, basically 1 point off the Fernando Alonso teams, but I'm still very much adamant that keeping Hulkenberg for one more race weekend to get that 3rd transfer was definitely the right choice for now. We'll see what I'm saying coming into lap 1 or when his car gives up on him. Right, 45 minutes till race start. I'll be on for another, let's say 20-30 minutes. But that is basically the gist of everything that needed to be covered, like importantly. So we now know Colapinto is going to be racing. Lance Stroll, if you have him, final fix him to Carlos Sainz. Esteban Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, if you have that sort of money. But for now, I don't think final fix is worth it anywhere else. Because realistically, you want to get around a 20-ish point difference in your final fix. And also, if you final fix normally, it's nicer to do it with your 2 times driver. Where, let's say, it would be something like Piastri. If Tsunoda was half competent and I genuinely thought he could get higher than P12, which I'm worried he won't, then it would be something like, oh, keep Piastri's qualifying points and head over to a Red Bull in P20 pit lane. Surely that's loads of points. If it was George Russell P20, if it was Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, if you didn't have Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, if it was any of the big 4 teams, even Kimi Antonelli, I'd be considering it. But just because it's Yuki Tsunoda, I don't think it's worth it. I know I had someone asking about Yuki Tsunoda potential final fix, but yeah, if anyone's going to crash out, sadly it would be him. He's been quite unlucky recently, and the pace isn't there this weekend. But that is also because, yes, not the starting grid. Yes, actually, I can use the starting grid, yeah. Yes, the McLarens have a good buffer to the rest of the teams. The field is very close. I mean, Yuki, 113.385. That time is less than a second off of P10 with Fernando Alonso. It's not... that is maybe a little bit worrying, because for someone like Yuki, that shows that it wasn't really any mistakes. He said it himself. He was just struggling with the car. There was nothing like... inherently bad that he was doing. So we'll see what happens with him. But I'm very excited to see what happens with the race. I mean, I put on a few cheeky polls before. Where was it? Yeah, so where will Yuki Tsunoda finish? 55% of people agree that it'll be 11 to 15%. 11 to 15th. And then Fernando Alonso, yes, the points. I think I'd agree there. And who will win the Spanish Grand Prix? Quite a landslide, to be fair. A very big landslide. I think Piastri is the favourite, and I think I am going for him as well. But I thought Norris and Piastri would be probably around 15% each holding it down, and maybe Piastri more of a 65%. And no one voted other. No one. Normally you get a couple of other votes as well. Also, this was one of my favourite ones I put on. The Piastri and Norris both complete lap one. Of course, Spain 2016, that's what I'm hinting at. And it basically is 100% of people thinking yes, but I respect that 11% of people saying no, just for the fun and games of it. I don't think there's that rivalry just yet between Piastri and Norris. Give it a few more races, and then we'll see. But it's very interesting because Nico Rosberg, obviously coming into this part of the season, if you don't know too much about 2016, he was running away with things. So it was do or die for basically Lewis Hamilton. And I think that's why it's a little bit different for Lando, because it's not fully do or die yet. He's only 3 points off, which is still mind-blowing that he's that close. It's 3 points, yeah. So we'll see exactly what happens. What I want to know is, there was a couple of people who were using Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc. Did anyone stick with them as the 2 times? Because I didn't think it was worth doing them. But especially with their budget, because what was it? Everyone's budget was basically the same to go up. 26, 31, 35, 36. A few people would have liked Leclerc just for the budget building potential. But what we got shown is exactly what we thought. Spain isn't a Ferrari track. I don't think Canada's going to be one. It's going to be... I think it's going to be similar to how it was last season, where we're going to have Spain, Canada, Austria. All of these tracks aren't really going to be Ferrari tracks. And then we're going to get closer to the likes of Monza and stuff. And then Ferrari will come back into it. But we'll see exactly, because it does flip-flop also every single race weekend. So who actually knows what it's going to be? Who knows? But it's going to be interesting finding out. Then, of course, on the Antonelli news, for the races coming up, we've still got 3 race weekends of him going down minus 0.6. So he'll probably be around 17.1 when we get through to 17.1 when we get through to Canada, Austria, Silverstone. So it will be Spa. We could be looking at bringing in Kimi Antonelli. And this is what I mentioned. Obviously, Spa, a lot of people probably will be using Limitless, whoever hasn't done it yet. And I don't think I'll be bringing Kimi Antonelli in. I do think I'll have enough to bring in George Russell instead. But there's also enough for just normal teams who haven't budget built as much to go, you know what, I want Piastri, Kimi. Probably even could afford McLaren and Ferrari with both of them. We'll see. It might be back to McLaren Mercedes. But this is why I like having that third transfer, just to mess about if I need to with that constructor. And then Joe asks, do you think George and Max will get through turn 1? You know what? I've been so preoccupied with looking at the likes of McLarens. I've kind of just forgot that that's also a very sketchy turn 1 for P3 and P4, and considering how close they were in qualifying, and we know what Russell and Verstappen are like every time they're together. Normally there's a bit of wheel banging, normally a bit of clanging. How good would that be for us Ferrari owners? Actually, how many people own Ferrari now? 20%. 20%. Wow. Okay, I thought it'd be a little bit more than that. If now, I would never wish for another driver to DNF because the pain is hard. But if it was going to be 2 drivers, could it please be Verstappen and Russell? Because that would literally, the differentials of anyone who Verstappen 2 times, instantly Piastri's safe in the bag, easy peasy. And then of course George Russell, anyone who still has Mercedes, easy peasy for us on Ferrari. It would work out well, but I don't like wishing on someone's downfall. I want this team to do well just by getting points. So we'll try to keep it like that. But it is also hard when you're in that position to not to not want something like that to happen. Lan asks, final fix the signs. It depends. So it's quite easy. It's if you've still got Lance Stroll, yes, final fix to Carlos Sainz. If you have someone like Colapinto, anyone who's still racing, then no, because Franco is going to be racing. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's like, it's not something that you'd want to wish for. But F1 Fantasy, man, it does stuff to you. It makes you wish for people to crash out or when they're not on your team, or it makes you root for the weirdest people. Like, who would have thought I'd be rooting for Nico Hulkenberg in the last 2 races? I love the guy, but I can't say unless he's like been close to a podium, I've been like, oh, come on, Nico Hulkenberg, come on. Hey Stuart, how are you doing? Ahmed, yeah. But exactly, yeah. Like, there's no F1 Fantasy Manager out there who wouldn't be thinking the same. It's the whole Driver of the Day situation as well. It's like, I will complain about Driver of the Day as much as possible, but at the end of the day, if the Driver of the Day goes my way, I won't be speaking about it nearly as much as I would be about it if it was. Like, if we get Piastri Driver of the Day, and let's say Fernando Alonso did actually have a great race, coming up to like P7, P6, and he deserved it, and he still didn't get it, it's hard not to just be like, oh well, what a shame. And it's like, that's what happened with Leclerc in Monaco. Obviously, you had me moaning about it, and everyone who had him, they were like, he deserved it. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, God. But right, I'll stay on for 10 more minutes. 10 more minutes, because I think, yeah, I generally have covered everything. So it's more just relaxed sort of vibes, I guess, now. I'd love to know, actually, this is what I want to know. Because these were the other teams. By the way, let me get rid of all of these other teams. I don't know why I've got so many manual teams loaded up. This is from, like, loads of past streams, and I've just completely forgot to get rid of them. I believe a lot of them would have been from Miami. But what I want to find out, and for anyone who has it in the chat, this could work as well. How are the either double McLaren, the triple McLaren V-Carb teams going, or Piastri, Verstappen, McLaren V-Carb teams going? The driver of the day should be just a choice of 3 or something, not everybody on the grid. No, well, I think I genuinely don't have an issue with driver of the day as like an actual thing in F1. Because it generally doesn't mean anything, and it's just a fan vote. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. I just really don't get why. I really don't get why F1 Fantasy don't just use a bonus point system. I've said it time and time again that I completely agree. I believe it was Rain who first brought it up. With anyone who plays FPL, Premier League fantasy stuff, football fantasy, you'll know they have bonus points where, like, if you get a goal, you get like those bonus points things, and you can get extra 3 points, 2 points, or 1 point. I don't know why they just don't have that instead. Like, if you qualify first, you get not like actual points, but you get like 5 bonus points. If you win the race, you get 10 bonus points, and then once you've got whoever's got the highest, the top 3 in those positions, get an extra 5 points, 3 points, and 1 point. Simple as that. You've solved the problem, because now it is fair. And you're also giving those bonus points that you wanted to give out on Driver of the Day. Just do something like that. I don't know why they don't. But right, no, my bad. Let me figure out what the team's looking at. So they would have McLaren. Let's see, with the best alteration right now, this is how it'd look. I'm feeling a bit nervous into the first corner. Yes, definitely am worried on behalf of you as well. 100%. But I genuinely think they're going to be sensible enough. Like I said, I don't think we're at Spain 2016 levels yet of rivalry between Norris and Piastri. I just think the gap's too close, so I don't think either of them would be desperate enough to go for a move like that, because both Rosberg and Hamilton were desperate at that point. Hamilton was desperate to get a win under his belt. He needed to get back into this championship, and Rosberg was desperate to like show everyone this is his championship. If he won that race, he was going into it with so many points clear. Right, so it'd be Piastri, Norris, Hadjar, I'm assuming. Let's go Alonso. Let's be nice and say you had Hadjar, Alonso, Colapinto. That sounds about right. Piastri 2 times. 68 points, very similar. Okay, that's completely fine. Where is it? Because Max in Japan would have scored really bad on... No, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't have. Sticks. In Japan, he would have... If he had like the bonus point system, Max would have done the best because he got first in quali and the first in the race. It wouldn't be bonus points with like overtakes and stuff. It'd just be about where you're finishing and stuff. That sort of principle. Max would definitely have got the most because you wouldn't have had Lando or Piastri because everyone went 2x2 basically. Not two, but yeah, but no one could do it. Is 60 points good for qualifying? Yeah, that's completely fine. I'm trying to think, what would your team have been with 60 points? McLaren Williams maybe? I like the fan vote. Yeah, I do agree. It does give something. It does give something for the fans to do, but I don't know. There's just too much bias with the fan votes, which is the issue. So you just want more position points? No. So it wouldn't actually... I'm not talking about like points that would... not like legitimate points a driver would get. Like it's just... So if you've ever played FPL, they get points from how well they've performed, but they're not actual points. They're just points that show on a stat to then give out the extra bonus points. It's that sort of system that I would want F1 Fantasy to use. Because then you'd get bonus points where Verstappen would show, okay, he gets an extra 5 not actual points, but he would end the race with, 15, 20 bonus points. And then that 20 bonus points would put him top of the list, and then he would get an extra 5 points to him as a driver, that sort of thing. What's the idea of your team 3? I haven't been too up to date. That is the green team. So me and Beauty, we tried to do the worst team possible and figure out exactly how to do it. Now I'm hoping he hasn't Lance Stroll 2 times, because otherwise I'm in the bin. But yeah, team 3, because basically in F1 Fantasy, you can use all team 1, 2, and 3. And there's nothing wrong with using all 3 teams, by the way. I just like using only one team because only one team's used in the global ranks to give out the prizes. So I sort of think, okay, team 1's the like serious team, and then team 2 is my test team. So for anyone who doesn't know, like for any thumbnails and stuff, I always keep Limitless in this team. If there's any issues with like Final Fix, so this weekend I actually need to put that in. I'll be using the Final Fix chip just to test out if we do keep an extra transfer heading into race weekend after Final Fix and stuff. So it's those sorts of things that team 2 does. And then team 3 is my team seeing how bad we can score in F1 Fantasy. I mean, I believe this team cost about 60 odd million. It's brilliant. McLaren, Ferrari. McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Alonso, Lawson. I'm struggling to find where you would only be on 60 points. Hang on, let me put in the Final Fix. So let's do not Behrman. I don't know why I'm taking this Final Fix seriously. it just did the thing. Oh, for anyone who wants to know as well, well, we've just tested out here right now and now. That's how you get double Bearman. But someone did that with double Lance Stroll. So feels very bad for that to happen. Is it gonna work now? It's not gonna be nice to me. Oh well, whatever. We're gonna figure out if that's doing it. Adam's working it on his team as well. Do you still have wildcard left? No. So I can actually show you all my chips I've still got left. So I've used Limitless and wildcard, but I've still got no negative, which is a big boost compared to a lot of people. Also, sorry, my mic keeps on moving. That's why. I don't know what's going on. So no negative is normally around a 30-50 point delta to teams who have used it. So I've still got that in the bank, and a lot of people have used that. Realistically, I'm waiting for a rainy sprint race like a Brazil, but it's most likely gonna just come down to the next wet race, because realistically, in China I didn't use it because I needed to wildcard. In Miami I needed to use Limitless, so I didn't use it there. Australia I thought it was too soon to use it. So there was excuses for all three of the last wet races, but next time round I think 100% I will be using it. Final fix, again, I don't really know where I'm going to use it. The option will show itself soon enough. It will just be, like I mentioned, one of the 7 good drive. No, Yuki's a good driver. I don't want to piss on him. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean when I'm talking about Yuki and not using him as a final fix option. And those 7, if any of them start within the bottom 16 to 20, so 16th to 20th, then I'd consider using them if it was a high overtake track. Of course, if they started 16th and 20th and it's something like Singapore, what else? Where else can't you overtake? I don't know. Singapore's the one that comes to mind, but something like a track like that probably actually wouldn't final fix. Rude, my hope is all for Alonso. If Alonso does get points, I'd be very surprised if he does not get driver of the day. It would have to take a massive drive from Oscar Piastri or Max Verstappen to do it. Because, again, Lando, not enough people like him anymore to get a driver of the day. So if Lando did get... the win here, I think he still wouldn't. Is Stroll getting a -20? Let's double check for you. Starting grid. Where is Lance? So he's on the starting grid. So, I believe that means he would get a -20 because it will start as a did not start then, if he's classified as a driver. It's very up in the air, to be fair, if he will or not. I'm going to go with the safe bet that it's most likely going to be a -20. But also, even if he wasn't getting a -20, you'd probably want to final fix out of him just because he's getting no points at all. So yeah, for people who prioritise budget, is it worth going Lawson? Yeah, Lawson looks like one of the better budget building assets right now. Kimi, the issue with Kimi is he's still got a long way to go, because Kimi needs a good 30 points this race weekend to be usable in Canada. Now, if he got 15 points, then like 20 points in Austria, then he could be usable in Silverstone. But we've got a long way away till we can use Kimi Antonelli in our teams again, sadly. But when we can use him, he's going to be around 17.5 million, which is going to be... Oh my God, it's going to be so dirt cheap. And it'll be a B tier asset, so it'll be going up 0.6 million. So it'll be great. I still didn't use any chips, but I'm top 100k, so I think... Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Yeah. Just like I mentioned, you be careful with the Limitless, because people will... the gap between what you can score between normal teams will be reducing every single race weekend. That budget goes up. But you've got plenty of time. Realistically, I thought we'd all be on the Piastri McLaren Mercedes team with another 8-year driver around now. But because of Imola not really being a cost cap builder, because of Monaco not being a cost cap builder, it's sort of stopped. Like, I only went up past few weekends 1.5 million, I think it was. Whereas in Spain, I could go up 1.5 million, 2 million just alone on that race itself. So we're going to come back to building a lot of cost cap. So it's definitely, I mean, 116 million people can afford to bring in the Piastri, Antonelli, McLaren, Ferrari or McLaren Mercedes teams. But of course, no one wants to do it at the minute because he's not looking great for F1 Fantasy. But what makes it interesting is the George Russell teams are only around, the cheapest George Russell teams are only around 118-ish million, 119. So now it's looking at, okay, how soon till people are looking at getting Piastri, Russell, McLaren, Mercedes teams if Mercedes aren't too bad. And then you're sitting pretty. You're really sitting pretty if people are having Piastri, Russell teams, because then we're back to basically what we were doing last season. So we'll see exactly what happened. What's the biggest you scored on a race? Like in this season or in general? Because like I will say, I'll bring you back to 2024 for my best F1 Fantasy weekend. Now it actually wasn't my highest scoring fantasy weekend because I'm pretty sure my Extra DRS last season got 400 odd points, which was in general, yeah. Sorry, hang on, my bad. I'm seeing comments. I had that idea last year in your Discord. Yeah, no, I remember people talking about potentially doing like, because I can't do a league of bad teams because people would just join with good teams and ruin it. Do you not use? So right, sorry, I'll get back onto my train of thought afterwards. But Kieran, yeah. So I did have Doohan in my team, but I talked to him. And I was like, can I still use Jack Doohan and can I put 2 times on him and stuff? And he was like, nah. Let's be civil and actually use assets you can use. And I was like, okay, that's completely fine. Because otherwise it'd be completely broken if I still had Jack Doohan. 2 times him every single race weekend, easy peasy. But in 2024, this was my best result. Now, I don't know if I can show my 2024 teams. But it wasn't my highest, by the way. By all means, I believe, yeah. But this team in Japan, you can't see it here, 298 points, was the best team you could have physically had that weekend. And to put it into context of how hard this is to do, I have only ever done this once, and hey, it will take a while for me to do it again, where you get the best team physically possible in a race weekend. 298 points, bar using Limitless, bar using Extra DRS, any of those chips, that was the maximum points you could have got in that race weekend. And I remember, because I used Wildcard, because I went crazy at the start of 2024, didn't use Max Verstappen, went budget building, then got over to Verstappen, Red Bull, Ferrari, or something like that. So yes, it's not really answering your question as such, but Japan 2024 will forever be my best F1 fantasy weekend. And then I believe, what's my highest scoring? 359, 351 in Brazil there. Qatar, 392 with no chips. That is absolutely incredible. Here we go. Austria 2023 was my highest scoring, 436 points. That would have been my highest scoring ever F1 fantasy results. But also, 2023 is a little bit weird because the F1 fantasy points, you gotta go back to it. We had Aston Martin basically as B tier assets, price wise, but you had Alonso, Stroll. Even Stroll was doing half decent. You had like Red Bull, Aston Martin, Verstappen, Perez, and Alonso in your teams. And your budget was going up ridiculous amounts, and everyone was just scoring so many points. I have Austria also 2023 401 points. Damn, no chips. What the hell happened in Austria? I cannot remember. 2023 Austria. Well, I mean, we know Verstappen won it. That's a given. Who else would it have been? I'm now interested to find out exactly what it is. Oh, by the way, it's 140. I've got to get ready for the race. We'll quickly do this. Is there a way to check global standings 2024 or previous years? I'll have a look, but sadly I don't think there is. But in 2024, I came 868th, I think. And in 2023, I came, who knows? I think it was like 7,000th. And then in 2022, I did play in 2022, but I started. 2022 was around when I first started putting F1 Fantasy videos on my YouTube channel, and I can't remember exactly why I gave up, but I was doing good in F1 Fantasy. I was doing good in F1 Fantasy, but I think it's so weird to think, because I did actually take a hiatus from this YouTube channel, where I didn't post anything from August till Feb, because I was like, whatever. I was like, I can't be asked to do this anymore, basically. So I was like, this isn't for me. And then I took like 5-6 months off, and I was like, oh, I kind of miss this. And then, you know, I'd never looked back. I think I came 20th. Oh my god. But would be nice to have a picture. No, did you? No. Sorry. No way, Christopher. Right, we've got to figure out if there's... Oh, maybe F1 Fantasy Tools might have it, you know. Actually, I'll check on F1 Fantasy Tools. But Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez... No, so... Right, Bruno, the reason why we got so many points is... remember in 2023, McLaren were dirt cheap because they were not good at the time. And Alonso was still dirt cheap because they didn't expect Aston Martin to be good. So a lot of people would have had Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen in their team with the likes of Red Bull Ferrari or Red Bull Aston Martin. So that I understand now why we got so many points. And it was also a sprint race where, of course, we had Verstappen. Yeah, everyone doing the same thing again. Let me double check if there's a way for League Analyzer maybe. No, that's for that one. Hindsight, no. Statistics, maybe. 2024. Team 1? Would this show me? No, this isn't going to show the... where does it show my global league on here? Eesh. I do not... Half the things on F1 Fantasy Tools, I can tell you right now, Oh, hang on. Where, let's go back to 2024. Also, can we appreciate the Abu Dhabi Masterclass? Leclerc, 110 points. That's what got me back into the top 1K in 2024. Incredible stuff. After the preseason testing, I put Red Bull Aston, and that was almost no money. Yeah, I remember how crazy it was, because it kind of... 2023 was weird because it kind of broke the game, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible, but most people were bringing in the sort of same teams. But then we had two moments that broke the season. Obviously, we had Aston at the start, and then you had McLaren, who then got so much better. So the pricing was just all over the place. To put this into perspective, yeah, come back to 2023. Let me show you what a team looked like at the end of 2023. This is what a team looked like. The top team, and most people were running very similar teams. We were running one B tier asset at the end of 2023. One. People were running Piastri, Norris. Technically, by the way, look, Piastri, 15.5 million. These guys were B tier assets, technically. Incredible how much budget we had to move around in 2023. We will never have it again like that, because even in this season, the best it will ever get to is either double or triple A-tier drivers, and that is after a long time grinding it out. I'm so happy that you have done the negative team, as I... Yeah, no, Kieran, I know... Because I remember in the Discord, we did speak about it last season, and I tried to think of how to... assert it, but there wasn't really a way to do it. But it's more now, we could all just, hey Kieran, if you've got a team like that, join it. Come see what negative team you can bring up as well. Inactive drivers, sort of like a sportsman thing, so we're not using it, but yeah, go for it. Nixie, no, I have not, and thank you for bringing that up. I will be doing that annoyingly next week. Probably maybe Monday, Tuesday. Basically, I've just had a lot of work to do this week. And it should quieten down a little bit more next week, hopefully. But actually, no, it will, because there's no race on the weekend. So I will only be posting a video on Wednesday, maybe Friday if I can think of something. But it'll just be F1 general stuff. So the editing on that stuff's not that hard. They're quite laid-back videos. So I have plenty of time to get that out. But I'm not looking forward to it. McLaren 5K times. And then I also, if Alonso doesn't get points, I might be doing the Spain one as well. We'll see. Anyone else rooting for Fernando? Of course, yeah. I hope everyone's rooting for Fernando, Ricky, because he so deserves a break, man. If it would be so typical if he has another issue with the car, and I swear, if anyone crashes into him, they're done. Ban them from the sport. Just let him have his moment. Let him get his points. We can't have Lance Stroll, who isn't even bloody racing at the minute, 14 points clear of Fernando Alonso. I have a team, but it's all got inactives. Been doing it all year. No. You know what? Team is on. Kieran, show me what that team gets after Spain as well, because I'm assuming if it's got inactive drivers, would it have the likes of the old Lawson Red Bull asset, maybe the Yuki one, Jack Doohan? What a team that is, by the way. What a team. But anyway, right, there's 13 minutes to the race. I'm gonna go get the broadcast set up in the other room. But everyone, thank you all so much for watching this live stream. Quick summary: final fix, if you have Lance Stroll, Franco's racing, so no need to worry about anything there. But most people didn't have Lance Stroll, so it's only a very select few cases. Enjoy the weekend. Let's see if we get a Mercedes Silver Arrow War 2016 S Crash. I'm worried about it. I do agree. I'm actually a little bit more worried about Russell and Verstappen for other people. Because, like I said, it'd be brilliant if on my F1 Fantasy team if that did happen. But I'm hoping for my team to work its magic on the field, not on the circuit. I mean, because of DNFs. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the race. I will be back after the race for another half an hour to go over the pre-race, to look at how well we did afterwards. But as always, enjoy the rest of your weekend. You're about to see OBS, so it's going to look all funky. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you after the race.